Hi ho, Aussie Stern here from Down Under, bringing you another video of painting. Today I've finished with my basic Pathfinder group, now on to the heavy team. So I'm going to first start off with Poe, and luckily for me there is a whole entire page in the Star Wars Rogue One book dedicated to both Pow and Beston, which should help me to actually get him just about right. And as you can see, there's a lovely head to toe shot of him in the book, which I'm going to use to reference against him. Now, a couple of things we can already see. His skin is like a grey colour. He's wearing primarily a khaki or a sandstone type colour undershirt with a vest of like a blue or a dark browny type colour vest, and also brown type pants. His gun is quite unique as well, and he also has a backpack which is in the lighter tan colour. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to get him, and we're going to paint the mouth area just on the inside with some pink, just some basic red mixed with some white to get a nice pink consistency. And then we will just dab it in. Like so. Once that's dry, then we can add some shades to give it more texture and to show that it is in the dark. Now, with the skin around here and the hands, like I said, his skin texture is a grey, but it's not this darker grey, it's a slightly lighter. So I'm going to use this ash grey, much like a dry brush, and just very lightly spread it onto the features of his skin. And again, I'll be using a wash later on to break up that flat colour. So we'll do the easy bit first, hands. And like, even if you get it to a consistency of like a dry brush, just very lightly spread it onto his facial features. That in some ways will help. Don't forget to do underneath his chin on his neck area. And we can't forget to do his other hand. There we go. Then we'll start on his coat. Now, for the vest, like I said, it's like a blue vest, very dark, or it could be a charred brown, which I've used for the rest of him. I'm going to put a bit of charred brown on my palette and add just the tiniest drop of blue to give it a light blue color. And just add a little bit at a time, not too much because we don't want it to overpower the color. And there we have it. Nice dark bluey grey brown colour that I'll use for his vest. Pulling that around, making sure to get everywhere it needs to be. And there we go. So the next colour we're going to use is that sandstone. So the Talaran sand. To do a lot of the sleeves and also his hoodie. just like so. He's also got these gauntlets that has a whole heap of spare barrels on it. It looks like they're like magnetically sealed. And according to this, folded reed armor from his homeworld is also located on his upper arm area. So what I might do is this reed texture, I'm going to paint in the same color as the Talon and the jacket. Then I'll get a brown wash to do the likes of the actual reeds. Give it a slightly different look. And there we go, that's the start of Poe. I'm going to pause this and continue painting, and then I'll bring you back and show you my next set. At this point in time, I have to do a bit of an overvoice. As you can see, I've painted a bit more with some scrag brown on his pants. I've also painted his gauntlets and the weapon in a bolt gun metal, as well as some of his belt area also in a metal and darker scorched brown colour. The backpack I still need to do, which is what I'm going to start on at the moment, using some of this Warplock bronze just to do the metal area, and then also to use it for some of the gun stock area. So taking a little bit, I just want to do the center of where all the mechanics, dare I say it, the electrical parts of the backpack is. All those things that are exposed metal. The rest of it I will do later on in a different color. But for now, I just want to get a little bit of paint on in these areas, and then work towards getting as much of this one color on in the areas that it needs to be. So working my way around, I'm now going to put a little bit of that Warplock bronze on the stock of the gun, as well as in the underslung areas of the weapon, doing some of the piping that apparently goes to a Tabana gas cartridge. I'm also going to do some of those barrels that are on his gauntlets in the Warplock bronze as well, at the same time on this side of the model and also on the other side of the model. I want to make sure that the same areas that I'm painting this Warplock bronze on each of the weapons is not always exactly the same. This shows that the actual finishing on the weapons are non-standard. It's not a uniform. Basically, these weapons have been customized by each of the Pathfinders individually to suit their own particular needs in many ways. Once we've completed putting the Warplock bronze on, we just want to make sure that we haven't missed any spots. Just make sure it's all done. And then we'll work on some more paint, and this time we'll get some null oil and create some of the recesses that are on some of the armor and also on the skin around the face sort of thing. We just want to do it very lightly, just so that the wash is helping to define out the difference between the dark and the light of the skin, giving it a real, dare I say it, leathery look. You will notice from the picture of Power in the book that, yeah, it is very worn skin. So it has a lot of shadow, especially around the eyes and also on the underside of his chin. So how we actually define those areas, it's best to use either a contrasting color or using that null oil wash to give those areas more depth. And once that's done, we just do a little bit in the mouth as well, so to give a bit of the background. So I've pretty much finished Pow. All I've got left to do is his backpack area and the straps that are associated with that backpack. I'm going to use this filthy brown colour for it, as it's a nice yellow brown look, and I think it plays well in with the actual backpack colour that is indicated on the book. So I just want to take a small swipes on the side there, that side. Top. Now, I may need to go over this twice in some areas, because the colour from the underneath the grey undercoat is showing through. Which is what I don't want. I don't want to see any of that grey colour. I want it a nice yellow brown. And of course the alternative is that I could just put it on very thickly, but if I did that, some of the smaller details might end up being lost. Other options that I could have done is I could have undercoated this slightly different in like a different brown colour, and then work my way up to this brown. But due to time constraints and many other projects that I want to try and do, it is what it is. So I find with painting backpacks, you do have to follow the seams, especially with the straps. You've got to do it very carefully, because quite a lot of the straps just bend over on the edges, so you have to not only do the flat of the top, but you also have to do quite often the bend in it, the sides of the strap. This top section is always nice because it's usually a lot thicker on quite a lot of the Star Wars models. Obviously, this period of Star Wars, there's a lot of ergonomicists that understand about how things sit upon your shoulder. Unlike the world that we are in these days, gotta be careful underneath. There looks like a, with this particular model, there looks like there's a bar, support bar for the actual backpack along here, along this ridge. So I might have to come back and repaint that slightly again. Much like you see some of those hiking backpacks usually have a little bit of support, so it doesn't sort of slack down below your center of your body, sort of thing, and really start pulling weight upon areas where it shouldn't be, like down near your back of your spine rather than the top of your spine, this area of the body. And there we have it. One nice looking power model. Of course, I still have to do a little bit of clean up here and there and a little bit of wash. But other than that, that's pretty good. So I'll leave that to dry. And I'll come back to doing the final sections of this one momentarily. So now we're up to our last section of just doing a little bit of wash around the model itself prior to getting it varnished, making sure that all of our sections that we've painted are nice and clean, that we haven't done anything to cause the model needing any further touch-ups. So all we're doing today is using a little bit of brown ink to give some definitions to some of the pants, as well as to his tops, bottoms, etc. So just a little bit of brown ink, putting it in to some water to dilute it a little bit, and then dabbing it on a bit of paper to dilute it even more and remove it. Then what we want to do is just lightly brush it on to the head. Onto those bamboos. If it's too thick, drop it in a bit more water, dry it off. Until you get where you think your consistency should be. Like so. So I'll try and bring it up a little bit closer. And all we're doing is just creating a bit of shadow. Now I could use a null wash, but seeing quite a lot of this model is the brown, going with a brown wash is totally appropriate in many ways. And there we have it. Power literally finished. I still have just one more thing to do with it, and that's the basing and varnishing of the model. But seeing you've already seen multiple videos of me varnishing and basing most of my force already, I'll be skipping that. So my next video will be Biston. Please like, please subscribe, please leave a comment if you're interested in any further information as to where I get these models from. All of them come from a company called Garfie's Games. These ones from the Pathfinders. Locally made here in Australia under license. So the 3D scans are from many international designers that Garfie has authorization to print and sell within eBay and here in Australia primarily. But for now, that's it from me, Aussie Stern. I'm wishing you a good day, and I will see you next time on the table. Bye for now.